you.
Good.
So, looking at this fight, your opponent, I think I'm saying this right, Jorgelina Guanini. She is a replacement for Ebony Bridges. Do you believe that this could potentially be a tougher fight for you?
I think so, yeah. I think so. She's a lot more experienced. She's already got a world title. She's had 13, 12 fights or something like that. You know, she is very experienced. But yeah, you know what? It hasn't even fazed me about the opponent. After Gav told me, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, about the pull-out. It was like 5 minutes later, yeah, we've got a replacement. Okay, let's crack on with training. And like, it hasn't fazed me, really.
What when you found out you were going to be fighting Ebony Bridges, what were your thoughts that knowing you were going to be fighting for a world title against an opponent who is relatively quite young in her professional career?
It shocked me because I didn't ever put me and Ebony fighting together, to be honest with you. But I don't know, it's the power of social media, isn't it? She's got a strong following on social media, and so that's how originally she would have got the fight, really. It's through the power of social media and people constantly tweeting Eddie saying get her over here, so yeah.
Last time out, of course, you had that scrap with Shannon Courtenay. It ended up being quite a tough fight, which I thought you deservedly won. Do you think that's the perfect preparations going into this world title fight?
I think so, yeah. It's a good fight, and obviously she's a small opponent, and this opponent is also small, so that's great. It was good to get an eight rounder in after being out of the ring since November. So yeah, it's good preparation, really, and I was pleased with my fitness, and I think it gave us a lot to build on and a lot to learn from. So yeah.
Also on the card on Saturday night, you have Katarina Fanders, who is a former opponent of yourself. Of course, you both got to do the business this weekend, but do you see a potential rematch between you two?
Too heavy for me. It's too heavy. You know, it was just one of them, at the time, this was probably like, 2 years ago, and it was, you know, we're struggling for fights. We were like, yeah, let's do it, let's take it. No, it's too heavy for me, to be honest with you.
Nice one. Thank you, Rachel.
No worries, thank you.
Thanks, Shane. If you pass over to Jonathan next.
Hey, Rachel. John here from Pro Boxing Fans. How you doing?
Hello, okay.
Yeah, good, thanks. Going into this fight, off the Shannon Courtenay fight, I just wondered, how has your life changed since then, considering the high-profile win over Shannon Courtenay? You were going in, I believe, as the underdog. How's life changed?
I mean, it's mainly, you know, the social media, really. That's changed. I've got a lot more followers and things like that, and a lot more people messaging me. But you know, life carries on as normal for me. I'm very down to earth, and I carry on. And I'm still working, and I'm just happy doing what I do. I mean, the phone calls, you know, from Eddie to my manager, that's a bit crazy, and it's still a bit surreal. You know, having these massive opportunities, that's crazy. But yeah, life goes on as normal for me, and I'm quite happy with that.
How dangerous do you believe your opponent is on Saturday, former world champion, obviously?
Well, if a sparring partner, Katarina Fanders, didn't stop me, she certainly isn't going to stop me, is she? You know, and that's a stone heavier than in this fight. So yeah, I'm feeling confident.
And if you win on Saturday night and Shannon Courtenay wants a rematch, is that something you'd entertain?
I don't know. We'll see. You know what? I'm quite happy. You know, I'm weighing in at bantamweights on Friday, and I'm quite happy at this weight. So she's on her own journey. I'm on my own journey. Whatever happens will happen, kind of thing, really.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. I believe we've got Danny Flexen for seconds out.
Hey, Rachel, how you doing?
Hi, Danny. You okay?
I'm good, yeah. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you.
And when we first talked about this opportunity coming up down at bantamweight, you talked about potentially cutting off a leg. Now, we can only see you from the waist up, but I'm assuming you haven't gone to those depths to get the job done.
Yeah, I genuinely thought, you know, when Eddie said, what about bantamweight, I was, oh my God, like I've never ever got down to that weight. And you know what, looking in the mirror, it's like looking at a really muscly 14-year-old version of myself. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. But no, we're good. And as you can see, I'm not drained. I'm still really bubbling and, you know, having a good time. So yeah, we're on course. I'm confident I'll make it. Absolutely confident. So yeah, it's all good.
What have you tweaked either in your training or your diet or both to enable you to knock off those last few pounds?
You know, I don't know what I've changed. I think it's my eating habits, you know, this year. To be honest, I was one of those typical boxers who used to fight, and then afterwards they'd absolutely binge, and I'd find that really difficult. I'd end up going to the shop and getting a load of cakes and stuff like that, you know, throughout my camp, maybe once every fortnight. So I've always struggled to make the weight, but now I'm working from home and I'm not rushing around so much. I've just got a better relationship with food, you know. So I thought that's the main thing that's helped me cut the weight. Really, is just having a better relationship with food.
I was hoping for some more practical tips for myself, but
yeah, sorry about that.
I'll cut off the leg. It's fine. I saw you were quoted recently as saying you'll need to step up again from the Shannon Courtenay performance to win this fight on Saturday. What specifically did you look at when you reviewed that fight that you felt you could still improve on? Because it was a really good performance.
You know what? I'm my own worst critic, and that pushes me on in every aspect of my life. So you know that's just me. But for me, I could have been more. I made it hard work for myself, to be honest with you, and I could have used my assets a lot better. I could have used my movement a lot better, and move my heads and things like that. So and mix it up between the body and head. So yeah, there's a lot to work on from that, and I'm hoping that will be reflected in this weekend's performance.
Brilliant, really appreciate it. Best of luck, obviously, on Saturday.
No worries, thank you.
There.
Thanks, Danny. Next, if we go over to Ames from Boxing News TV.
Ames here for Boxing News TV. Great to see you again, Rachel. How you doing?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. Last fight, of course, you were in with Shannon Courtenay. You kind of won the hearts and minds of people when we saw you crying on Sky Sports. I know you don't like that being mentioned, but I've got to mention it. Just reflect, like, from literally that final bell to where you are right now.
You know what? It's been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of hard work and sacrifice as always with fight camps. And I think I'm hungrier than ever because I've kind of gone back into a fight camp quite quickly. You know, on Saturday it will be 3 months to the day that I was last in the ring, so it's quite a short turnaround. So I'm definitely feeling really like hungry for the win. I want the win. It's making me really, really determined. And yeah, I've had a really good camp. I'm really proud of myself and what my team have achieved in camp.
Yeah, as Danny was saying, you've gone from feather to bantam. Just elaborate again how you found that weight change here.
You know what? It's been all right. It's been all right. I haven't killed myself. To be quite honest, like there's been times in the past, specifically in kickboxing, when I fought a super bantamweight, and it's killed me. I've had to do saunas. You know, I'm that weak, like getting onto the scales, I can barely speak, and I don't think you're going to see that this week because I've just learned how to do it a lot better. So I'm confident that I'll be able to do it. And I think, well, you know, if I can make these weights, why not do it again in the future? You know, as long as I give a good account to myself and everything goes well, yeah, I can't see why I can't fight these weights again, to be honest with you. And I think that's where I'll be looking to do.
Last time round, a lot of people were backing you. A lot of bets were placed on you for the upset, as it were, coming into the fight. What about this time around? What have you seen in terms of people backing you? Maybe they've been doubting you a little bit. What have you seen?
So I think obviously there's been a change of opponent, but I think the bookies have got it right. Well, I haven't looked at the odds since the change of opponent, but when it was Ebony, they were like, yeah, Rachel's going to win. I think people are backing me. I think people think I'll do it. You know, I think people have actually seen, oh God, she's that tall and she's that strong, you know, and it's made people realise, you know, and I haven't been stopped at heavier weights, so why would I, you know, get stopped at lighter weights, you know?
Yeah, obviously you mentioned Ebony, and others have mentioned Ebony. That was the original opponent there. It probably would have been just a tad bigger platform if you'd fought Ebony Bridges. Do you want that fight
later on down the line? And I know you're kind of upset, obviously, that Ebony had to pull out because of an injury.
Oh, you know what? It is what it is. It's boxing, isn't it? And I've injured my shoulder before, and it's just mortifying. You just can't do it. You know what? We'll see. We'll see. But I think Gav, my coach, mentioned that Eddie's got a show in Australia coming up next year. I'd happily go over, have a little holiday, keep the spiders away from me. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm up for it anyway. But I think hopefully by then, all being well on Saturday, I'll be 7-1. It should be 4-0. I think that's quite a big difference in experience, to be honest.
People can hear my accent. I think people can hear your accent. You stand to be you stand to become a Midlands world champion from Midlands. What does that mean for you?
It means a lot. It means a lot for BCB, who manage me. I'll be their first world champion, so it means a lot. And everyone wants me to bring it home to the Black Country, and that's exactly what I intend to do on Saturday.
And forget about the Midlands for a moment. This is obviously your dream. Talk to me about the original dream that you had when you first kind of put on the gloves, and now this moment, I suppose.
You know, I've always aspired to be a world champion. And I think probably in the midst of my pro boxing career, I've got a bit disheartened, with the availability of fights and not being able to. I've tried to have a title fight back at home, and I just haven't been able to get a sponsorship to do it. And it's crazy. I've stuck it through, and here I am. It's absolutely crazy. Anything can happen in this whirlwind of boxing.
Yeah, you're on the cusp of winning a title. In the bubble that you've got with you coming into this fight is Terry and Katie, who have done that. Will you speak to them for advice on these next few days?
I think I'll just speak to them in general. Really, we're all very different, so each one of us going into a fight has a different game plan because of different opponents and different mindset and different personalities. So I think I'll just I know myself well enough to look after myself in fight with. But it'll be nice. It certainly will be really, really good to meet them and catch up with them this week if we get a chance.
And do you expect this fight coming in with Guanini to be like the fight that you fought against Kathapulu?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Oh, let the blood splatter everywhere. That'd be great. We'll see. I hope so. You know what? Keep running onto my straight punches because it looks great on my Instagram when everyone's covered in blood. So yeah, crack on.
And final question for you here. If you do win that title, do you expect to be crying again on Sky Sports?
You know what? I've even thought about putting a film on where like a dog dies this week, so I deliberately cry, try and get it out of me. Oh God knows. I didn't even anticipate doing that last time. It took me by surprise. Never mind the whole, everyone watching. So I hope not. But we'll see.
All the best, Rachel. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And lastly, we've got Daniel to jump in before we let Rachel go off.
Hey Rachel, how are you doing today?
Hello, you okay?
I'm doing good, thank you. Especially with the pandemic going on during this time, how has your training gone, especially for this fight, compared to your last one? I know that there can be a lot of difficulties, especially with limitations and whatnot.
Camp's been different this time because the gyms have been open throughout all of my camp up until Thursday. So that's been really positive to get back into the gyms properly. But especially now, this past week, it has been a little bit worrying because so many people have been getting COVID around me. To me, it's a virus. I'm a very fit person and it'd be just like another cold or flu to me, but it's just that thinking it could stop me fighting. You got to make sure it doesn't play on your mind. So that's probably one of the differences from last time that's been on my mind really.
And do you think that in the next few months, depending on if you win this fight this weekend, you have opportunities to move on to other fights? Do you think that with this current situation that things can change and you'll have to find a new way to train or a new way to go about your business?
There's positives and negatives to this situation. Positives is that I haven't had a cold or flu all year because everyone's away from me and everyone's using hand gel, and that's great. Negatives, we haven't got the crowds. It's such a shame. But then again, for me, because after Saturday, I'll have had 2 fights behind closed doors. I think it'll be very different for me going in front of the crowds again. It'll be, you know, it's just as weird as being without the crowds. So, it's a strange time, isn't it? And we can only hope 2021 brings the crowds back into boxing.
We can very much hope. And I asked Katharina this before. In women's boxing, there's been a big increase in the talk for a pay increase. There's also been the talk about 2-minute rounds compared to 3-minute rounds. What are your opinions about the 2-minute rounds that you have now compared to the talks of 3-minute rounds when there's evidence that there could be that in women's boxing?
My personal opinion is that 2 minutes is good for women's boxing because it makes it very explosive. I think we will see more stoppages and knockouts over 3-minute rounds. There are, of course, biological differences between men and women. And even as somebody who supports women in sports, I can't deny that that is science. There are biological differences. So how you see men over 3 minutes, I don't think you'll see the potential of women in the 3-minute round compared to the men, because we have less hemoglobin, less muscle, etc. So there's the biological factors to consider as well. So, but one of the things that I will say about the whole 2-minute, 3-minute rounds is the fact that the boxing board kind of make these decisions and the promoters and stuff like that. And I just want the women to be, us, to be consulted about what we want. That's what I want. As long as the majority are happy, I'll go along with the consensus. But I just hope these decisions aren't made without people being consulted, to be quite honest with you.
That's definitely an important factor. And one final question for me. This fight card is very historic, especially with the recent Sky Sports being available to more viewers announcement just recently. In the U.S., women's boxing is getting slowly and surely getting a bigger eye on it, especially with women like you and Katie Taylor and Terry Harper involved. Do you have any advice or anything to say for young women who are interested in watching you, whether on the Sky Sports or who are going to be watching in the US?
I'd say just get into sport, do what you love to do, be happy, and work hard, because the rewards do come. After the hard work and everything, the rewards do come, and you will get those opportunities. It's a lot of hard graft getting there.